This morning's reading is taken from Luke chapter 5, beginning at verse 33, where Jesus is questioned about fasting. They said to him, "John's disciples often fast and pray, and so do the disciples of the Pharisees. But yours go on eating and drinking." Jesus answered, "Can you make the friends of the bridegroom fast while he is with them? But the time will come when the bridegroom will be taken away from them. In those days they will fast." Then he told them this parable. "No one tears a piece out of a new garment to patch an old one. Otherwise it will have torn the new garment, and the patch from the new one will not match the old. And no one pours new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise the new wine will burst the skins. The wine will run out, and the wineskins will be ruined. No, new wine must be poured into new wineskins. And no one, after drinking old wine, wants the new, for they say, the old is better." Hi, I'm Simon Smalley, and I worship at St. Philip's Church. When I was much younger, my mother used to pick the fruit from our mulberry tree and make homemade wine from it. Now I used to be fascinated watching the wine slowly bubble away in bottles as it fermented. Then one day, when we were in the next room, there was a loud explosion, and we went in to find out a bottle had exploded, leaving glass and wine all around the room. Somehow the non-return valve of the bottle had become blocked, and the pressure had built up to such an extent that it literally blew the bottle apart. Now this memory came to mind whilst reading the Bible passage. Although we don't use animal skins for storing wine these days, I can quite understand the problems they had then. The old wineskins would have had very little stretch left in them, and so the pressure of a new wine would have caused them to tear open. The new wineskins, on the other hand, would still be more flexible and able to stretch to cope with the pressure. So, how does this have relevance to us as where we are as Christians? Our old lifestyles are a bit like the old wineskins. We have expanded into them, stretching them to fit who and what we are. If when we become Christians, we try to fit our beliefs in together with our old way of living, then the pressure is too much, and something has to give. It is the same problem with patching an old garment, or our old lifestyles with a new piece of cloth taken from our new belief. To change our old ways of living can sometimes be painful, but the new and the old are often in conflict with one another. So as Christians, we must choose between the two. Would you tear up the spotless white robes that God gives us just to patch our old worn clothing? So what of our new lifestyle, our new clothing? What do we do with it? In the past, we tied ourselves up in knots trying to live up to the rules set out for us to win salvation by following the rules rather than by God's grace. The Pharisees in today's reading, who were the leaders of the Jewish church at that time, criticized Jesus' disciples for how they behaved on the Sabbath. For them, the form and order of what people did was more important than the faith itself. Today also, there are some within the church who want to set out how you live your faith, setting out hurdles of do's and don'ts as to how to become a Christian. In 1 Corinthians 3, Paul reminds us that the message is more important than the one who gives it to you. Likewise, he himself sought not to put anything in the way of belief. Now we can meet together in church with candles, incense, organs, robed clergy, but none of that is essential to worship. but a broken and contrite heart is. When we become Christians through grace, we are freed from our past conventions and prohibitions. So don't be too quick to add new mountains to climb. Live by grace and not by law.